Welcome to rSlash, Am I the Butthole, where OP gets her husband fired. Am I the butthole for having my husband fired? I'm a 29-year-old woman, and Richard, my ex, is a 34-year-old guy. It's been 3 years since we separated due to him being abusive and cheating. But we're not divorced because divorce is expensive in my country, and whenever I apply for divorce, Richard insists on mediation. So divorce wouldn't even be granted because one of us is trying to save the marriage. He lives with his mistress, and they have a kid together who was conceived when we were still together. Due to both of them harassing and abusing me, I have a restraining order against both of them. My employer is aware of all of this because the utility company that my ex works for supplies the buildings that their offices are at. His company is one of the major suppliers in the company. Now to the actual events. Due to restrictions, everyone is currently working from home with a few days in the office. Richard decided to show up at my work with his kid, and he demanded to see me for child support money since we're still legally married. Since my employer is aware of the situation, the receptionist refused to tell him if I was in the office or not. I was, and they asked Richard to leave. Richard didn't leave, and security was called. Since he was with his kid, security couldn't use force to remove Richard, so reception threatened to call the utility company that he works for. Richard didn't believe that the receptionist would do it, so long story short, him and his mistress were fired immediately. Because Richard showing up at my work was seen as gross misconduct, and they discovered that Richard's mistress was his boss. Apparently, his employer didn't know that they were together, and it's strictly forbidden to have a relationship with someone who's directly employed by you. The utility company apologized for Richard's actions and gave a considerable discount for their services to make sure the news of what happened wouldn't spread. Since they were fired, I've been getting calls from unknown numbers, from Richard, his mistress, their family and friends, saying that I'm responsible for it and I'm just a jealous butthole for getting them fired to get back at Richard. We still have some friends in common, and they believe that him getting fired and losing the only source of income they have is too harsh. And I should have prevented that, and I shouldn't have spoken in the beginning about what happened. Am I the butthole? Okay, hold on, OP. Based on this story, it sounds like you did literally nothing. All you did was set up the restraining order. But the restraining order wasn't even the thing that got them fired. You were up in your office, presumably just typing away, not even aware of what was going on. Then it was the receptionist who called the office to call them out on their behavior. And the utility company decided that they were the ones who violated company policy by, I guess, coming to a client's office and causing a scene and also violating their internal dating policy. Like, I'm sure they said that the reason is because, oh, well, you guys can't date. But in reality, the real reason more than likely is because they're a business. They want to make money. And when they have one of their employees come into a client's office and cause a scene, they could lose who knows how much money by losing that contract with that client. So them being fired is completely 100% justified. Also, them blaming you for it is completely irrelevant. You had absolutely nothing to do with it. You were in the office the whole time. If anything, they should be mad at the receptionist or mad at, their own company policies that they willingly violated, I guess. Also, while reading this story, I kept thinking, why on earth does this guy want to be with his mistress, but he doesn't want to get a divorce? And as I was reading, I was trying to figure out all the reasons why, and aha, he thinks that he can get you to give him money for the kid that he got by cheating on you. Okay, that's some real impressive logic there, buddy. OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm also even giving the receptionist 0 out of 5 buttholes. If anything, the receptionist should be commended for having your back. I'm giving Richard 4 out of 5 buttholes. Am I the butthole for telling my friend that she's a butthole? I'm a 32-year-old woman, and my best childhood friend, who's 32, just became a lawyer and then dumped her boyfriend. My best friend and I grew up in poverty. We didn't have many opportunities for an education. For young women in our area, our options were retail, drug dealing, prostitution, or hoping that a rich guy would notice us. For guys, it was retail, drug dealing, or finding one of the few factory jobs remaining. I got lucky and managed to date a med student. He helped open doors for me, and I've become a teacher in a school in a lower socioeconomic area to provide those opportunities. My husband is now a doctor. My friend tried that option, but she wasn't as lucky. She was working minimum wage retail at age 25. While doing so, she got friendly with a factory worker who's 30 who came by regularly and they started dating. He knew that he wasn't the academic type. School just wasn't for him. But he also saw potential in my friend and encouraged her to go to school. She had dreams of becoming a criminal prosecutor and he encouraged her to not give up. He took out whatever loan he could find so that she could get an education. He supported her through and through, did the housework, worked extra shifts, did everything so that she could get an education. My friend persevered, graduated, and became a lawyer. Shortly after, she broke up with her boyfriend just as he was planning to propose to her. She said that, as a professional, she had no interest being married to a working-class man and that she deserves a real man. I was horrified and told her that she's betraying a man who supported her through all this and made her what she is. She got mad and said that it's not the woman's job to pay the bills and that I'm a hypocrite because my husband makes a lot more than me. She further said that the idea of marriage as a life partnership is a patriarchal construct, that she has the right to date whomever she wants, and that as a feminist, I should be supporting her. I told her that not only is she a major butthole, but also she's giving feminists a bad name because feminism also means women financially supporting their male partners. Wait, I'm confused. How can this person say that on the one hand, marriage is a patriarchal construct, but on the other hand, women shouldn't have to pay any bills because that's the man's job? Like, which is it, lady? Are we respecting old-fashioned gender roles or not? And what's even more ironic about this is now that she's at like a higher socioeconomic level, she thinks that she's a more valuable person, but she's shown through her actions that she's actually not a valuable person at all. She's selfish, manipulative, and not grateful at all. Even though her ex-boyfriend makes less money than she does now, he's still a more valuable person than she is. Because fundamentally, what's more important in a partner? Having a big bank account or being loyal and supportive? OP, you're 100% right here. Your friend is a butthole. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes. I'm giving your friend 3 out of 5 buttholes. I hope that at the bare minimum, your friend paid back the loan that her ex-boyfriend gave her. If she doesn't, if she literally just took his money and ran, then we may have to knock this up to like a 4 or a 4.5 butthole score. Am I the butthole for hiding embarrassing notes in my house as a joke because I know my fiance's mom snoops? I bought a house 7 years ago and I met my fiance, Al, 4 years ago. This year he moved in. We're talking about making it a home for both of us. But as of now, he hasn't moved much stuff in. Right now, 95% of the stuff and furniture in the house is mine. When his mom comes over, she's kind of a snoop. My fiance's been used to that, but when she comes to our house, it's so uncomfortable because she just goes through my stuff. Whenever I get bothered by it, she's like, "I was just helping with chores." My fiancé says that I should just let her because she has a lot of nervous energy. One thing she snooped on was actually embarrassing. In my home office, I had a little affirmation post-it note on my monitor saying, "I'm smart, I'm skilled, I'm deserving of great things." It was a silly thing that my therapist recommended to get me into a confident mindset before an interview. Anyway, she made a comment about my ego. But as a joke, I decided to do it again. I had my best friend over, we got wine drunk, and we wrote a bunch of affirmations to hide. For example, in my medicine cabinet I wrote, "My teeth will regrow. I am shark-like and powerful." In the kitchen drawers, "I know when to spoon, but I also know when to fork. I am sexy and self-assured." In my work desk, "I will not just passionately hug my way to the top of the company, I will passionately hug my way to the top of the world." And in my walk-in closet, "I am beautiful with clothes and without, especially without. My boobs are legendary." There were a bunch more, and my friend and I had a hilarious time writing them. Next time that my mother-in-law came over, she saw a few. And she didn't acknowledge them to me, even though she definitely started acting a little weird about me. I went to run some errands, and when I was out, she confronted Al about the notes and was trying to tell him that I seemed unstable, egotistical, and that moving in was a bad idea. She showed him the notes, and he didn't really know what to make of it. He asked me, and I said they were just some silly private notes to boost my self-confidence and make myself laugh. How had she found them? Had she been going through my things? He said she was just tidying and she saw them, and they were really weird. I was like, have you met me? You should know how weird I am. Anyway, I don't want your mom seeing my weird stuff, so you've got to stop letting her go through my stuff. He asked me if I left them on purpose to annoy her, and I admitted that was kind of the joke, but I also have other weird or private stuff, so what I said about her needing to stop snooping if she didn't want to find weird stuff was still for real. He said that I was making stuff hard for him. His mom was really protective and adjusting to him moving in with a girlfriend for the first time, and I was agitating her on purpose and making her think that I wouldn't be a good partner when he wanted her to have the opposite impression of me. Am I the butthole for the note prank? Okay, so why is it okay for you to agitate the mother-in-law and make the mother-in-law think that you're a worse person when it is okay for the mother-in-law to agitate you and make you think that she's a worse person? The answer? Double standards. To put it simply, OP, your mother-in-law and your fiancé need to stop snooping. I'm giving you 0 out of 5 buttholes because you completely did nothing wrong here. I'm giving your mother-in-law 2 out of 5 buttholes, and I'm also giving your fiancé 2 out of 5 buttholes. If my mother started snooping around my wife's stuff and looking into her personal stuff, I would absolutely lay down the law. Mom, if you do that again, you're never coming to my house again. It's really that simple. Also, this story isn't very funny, but I guess it's kind of cute. When I started my YouTube career, I went to a bunch of conferences because I was trying to learn as much as I could about the world of YouTube and network with other YouTubers to learn from them. So I traveled pretty frequently. I'd go to California probably 2 or 3 times every year. And whenever I left, I would hide Post-it notes around the house to places where I knew that my wife would go. And it'd just be really simple stuff like, I miss you, I love you, can't wait to get back home. So she would go to, make her cup of tea in the morning, and she would open up the tea maker, and inside the tea maker, it'd be like, you're beautiful. It's cheesy and dumb, but I've done something similar, OP. Am I the butthole for telling my wife that she embarrassed everyone during our son's birthday dinner? For starters, I just want to say that we do have money, and we don't need to save money. My wife, who's 42, is currently working as a part-time nurse. I'm also 42, and I work in the local police department as a detective. We have 2 kids, our son who's 12 and our daughter who's 13. My wife has started wanting to save money, and it's starting to annoy the kids. As an example, we're giving the kids $10 each week for allowance, but my wife decided that $10 was too much and lowered it to $3. I've told her that I think this allowance amount is too low, but she disagrees. Another example is that she'll buy meals to bring to a restaurant to be microwaved. We've gotten looks before, and it's always been turned down. It results in her making a fuss and will be asked to leave. I've told her that she needs to stop, and that when we go out, I'm fine with her ordering whatever she wants. I normally pay for the groceries, the bills, and the food that we eat out. My wife helps with small payments and will buy our kids cheap clothing. My daughter does like to wear designer clothing, and I normally will buy her that clothing and then hear about it from my wife. My son was turning 12, and he wanted to eat out at his favorite steakhouse. I did ask that my wife not bring any of her meals along to the restaurant. We arrived at the restaurant and sat down at the table. My wife gets up to use the bathroom and we order our drinks. When the drinks arrive, we give the waiter our orders and my wife orders a small salad. The waiter comes back over with a meal and says, "Ma'am, we can't warm this up for you." I see my son and daughter both look embarrassed, and I apologize to the waiter. My wife spent the rest of the dinner staying silent, and she wouldn't touch the salad she ordered. When the evening was over and we got home, my wife and I began to argue about the evening. I told her that she was in the wrong for bringing a meal when I asked her not to. She started to argue back that eating out is a waste. I then said, "Well, you embarrassed everyone, including our kids." She asked me to leave the bedroom, and I'm now staying in the guest bedroom. Am I the butthole for telling my wife that she embarrassed everyone during our son's birthday dinner? Okay, OP, so no, you're not the butthole here, but I really feel like something else is going on here. I really hate to speculate in these posts because I don't want to form opinions based on information that I don't have. But this behavior is just weird. It doesn't really add up. It doesn't make sense, especially if you say that you guys don't struggle with money. And if you pay all the bills, I kind of have to wonder, what does she spend her money on? Because the fact that she's trying to save money so diligently implies to me that she's trying to save her money for something. So the question is, for what? Does anyone else think that this kind of sounds like the behavior of a burgeoning drug addict? Like someone who's just started to get into drugs and they want to save as much money as possible to spend on drugs, but they haven't like completely gone off the rails and they've started stealing stuff yet. Or maybe this is like some mental issue. Like, I don't know, OP, but something feels really off here. But judging the post just on the words that you wrote alone, all I can really say is, OP, you get 0 out of 5 buttholes. Your wife gets 1.5 out of 5 buttholes. OP, I think that it might be a good idea to put those detective skills of yours to work. My guess is that she's either cheating, she's doing drugs, or she desperately needs a mental health professional. You know, actually, now that I think about it, it does occur to me that she's a nurse during COVID, so maybe there's nothing malicious. Maybe this is like a stress response because medical professionals are absolutely drowning in work right now, so that's kind of understandable. Look, I don't know what the problem is, OP, but something's fishy. Please check it out. That was rSlash AmITheButthole, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.